Hey everybody, welcome to my plan with me for the week of October 10th through the 16th. This is going to be me planning through the week that I went to Warplando, aka Vans Warped Tour in Orlando. So I did use a mixture of stuff. Foil is all from closed shops, unfortunately, except for this. That's from SPC. But the kit is also from SPC. So I used these like purple hollow checkered palm trees over some, it was graffiti pattern in like a teal foil, but you really can't tell what it is behind them. So I should have just done solids. And then I had so many boxes that I ended up having to use these because I am marking a ton of stuff because the festival was on these 2 days. So let me go ahead and get into it. I am not going to be talking through what I did in the first part of the week because I have so much to talk about as far as the festival. So hopefully I am able to get through this. I know my last plan with me that I did, I guess the last one wasn't, I don't think it was my Vegas trip, but I could be wrong. I don't remember. This will probably be my last plan with me for quite a while. I am just mostly planning off camera and it was just becoming stressful. Like I got really behind and I don't really want to relive certain weeks, like just weeks that I was sitting at home in pain watching shows, because that's not something I want to talk about again. So if I'm doing something exciting, I might plan on camera like this, but otherwise I'll just kind of be sharing spreads on my feed. However, I do have some other ideas for content, but let me not get into that right now because, like I said, I have a lot to talk through. So I did get to Florida on the evening of the 14th. So that was Friday. But yeah, so it was a travel day. Sarah and I went from St. Louis to Orlando. We did get a direct flight, which was just really nice. I hate layovers and yeah, so it worked out. But we got there kind of late, so we got in and we're at baggage claim waiting for our bags to come around. And the large luggage claim area was near where our, do you call them carousels? I don't know. This year was the first time that I did any check bags when flying, so it was a new process to me. But regardless, the place where you grab your bags at, the large luggage claim area was right by it. So I was just kind of looking around because I hadn't been to Florida since my honeymoon, which at this point was almost 10 years ago. But then I saw something that looked like it could be musical equipment. And then I saw ETF on the side of it. And I was like, is that Escape the Fate? Because they were one of the bands that was playing at Warped Tour and I really like them. It was. So I saw one of the band members and I immediately recognized him, not because I just know what all of them look like, but because he was dressed just like they dress on stage. So that was so fucking cool. And Sarah looked and was like, oh yeah, that's definitely them, because she saw where they would have flown out of and that their flight had just kind of gotten in. I think I want to say they're from Vegas, but I could be wrong. But yeah, that was really cool. I was like, I didn't take a picture or anything, but I was shook. I was so excited. So that was a fun moment to kind of have right off the bat. And then we basically just got back to our place, our hotel, got changed, got ready, and then we took an Uber to, I don't know if it's downtown Orlando, but basically there was an area where they were doing Warped events. So they had some little shows and things like that prior to the festival. So There was a bar, like a pop-up bar called Van's Warped Pour, like P-O-U-R. I feel like that's hard to say, which I loved the wordplay. So we did go there, and then it was kind of just like an outdoor area with multiple bars. So there was also a place called The Other Bar, which was next door. And so we just kind of hung out and had some drinks, danced around. I forgot to say, on the way there, our Uber driver didn't really speak English, or at least not very much English. And Sarah had like accidentally picked a pickup spot that was different than where we really needed dropped off. So I had to use my like little bits of Spanish that I knew from I had been doing Duolingo at that time to like help direct us. And we did end up showing her phone to the driver, but at least I kind of like understood some of what he was saying. Like I can't really speak it, but I knew enough to get us where we needed to go. So that was kind of like a surprise. It shouldn't have been, because I know there's tons of people in Florida that speak Spanish, but I just hadn't been down there so long I didn't really think about it. So we stayed out really late and we made some glitter drinks. I had glitter in my bag, so we got some beverages to put glitter in, because that's what we do when we're feeling a little belligerent, or just in general. We just love glitter drinks. So we had those. We chatted with some people there at the bars. It was just a really good time. So a super nice start to the trip. We were up until 3 a.m., which is wild because Sarah gets up at like 5 a.m. normally. So I was like, I don't know how she's still awake. I don't know why I was still awake either. I think just the adrenaline. But yeah, it was a really good time. So Saturday morning, we were getting ready for the festival. I put on a shit ton of glitter. Oh, and I do just want to say, or after I cuss, there's going to be some colorful language, so to speak, in this video. But I meant to say this at the beginning of the video and I forgot, but I just want to say, obviously I am sharing this fun trip and fun time, but currently the time we are living in, I just wanted to say, fuck ICE. They're out in the streets literally murdering people for existing, and it's not okay. This video is not about that, but I did just want to mention that because I know I have somewhat of a platform. So yeah, I just wanted to say that real quick. But I think I spoke about my ADA experience in Vegas, which was overall extremely positive. And I did just want to stop real quick to also mention these stickers are from my shop, Corks and Corgs Co. Any of those like cork characters, and there's a few other icons I'm going to use that are from my shop. It is on Etsy, but it's linked down below. Sorry I am so all over the place today. My ADHD is really doing its thing. So back to ADA. I got to the festival and they had a separate ADA entrance. So I do just want to preface this with that. But I didn't realize where it was. It was on like the opposite side of the festival from where Sarah and I went in. And I also didn't, like, I do need accommodations, but I didn't think it was for me. I assumed it was only for people that have like mobility aids, which anyway, so we didn't go in that entrance. We went in the main entrance, and I asked multiple people like where I could go to get my ADA band, like wristband, so that I could get into those sections at the festival when I needed to sit down and take a break. And the first 3 people had no clue what I was even talking about. Somebody was like, what do you mean ADA? Is that a work thing? I was like, no, disability. Like, and they were confused. And I was told to talk to like multiple different people, none of whom knew what I was saying. And then eventually I found a security person that was able to direct me to the right place. However, it was very hot because even in November, it's Orlando and it's really humid. So I had to go to like almost the back of the festival grounds, so like the opposite side from where we were at. And I had to have Sarah stop and buy us some waters because there were no water filling stations except in the very back of the festival grounds, and I was like about to pass out on the way to get that wristband. So I will say logistically it was very frustrating. I don't know, however, like if I'd gone in the other entrance, if it would have been better. I feel like the people at least would have known like where I needed to go and I wouldn't have gotten misdirected, but I was dizzy, and since I was dizzy, I was really struggling to like think clearly and process instructions when people were telling me like where to go. So I'm grateful that Sarah was there with me to kind of like figure it out and help me, because yeah, I had to get water and like electrolytes immediately. So we did get to the festival pretty early because we didn't want to miss anything. And one of the bands we wanted to see was like turned out to be earlier in the day, but they don't release the schedule until like the actual beginning of the festival. So we couldn't plan ahead or anything. So we're like, let's just get there as soon as we possibly can. So once I got my wristband and I was able to like sit and drink water for a minute, I was feeling a bit better. But we did watch the opener, which was named Walking Blue, and they were not on like the official lineup. They were just kind of like a write-in they put on the lineup day of. So I had never heard of them, but I feel like they were good. I don't remember it a ton, but had a good time. And then the band we saw after that was the Main, which we were very excited about because we wanted to see them on their tour, but we were unable to go. I don't remember why, but I was very excited to be able to see them. And they put on such a good show, which I had heard they were really good live. So I'm very excited we got to see them. They also had Charlotte Sands as a guest, which she's an artist that I found through the Warped Tour rollout, which if you don't know, basically the way they do Warped Tour artist announcements ahead of the tour is they do it in waves. So I think it was like a month. Every single day they were releasing like maybe 3 or 4 artists that were going to be playing. So the point of it is, because they have a lot of smaller artists, is so that you check them out ahead of time. And so each day I would listen to a couple songs by each of the new artists, only the ones that were going to be in Orlando though, to see if I was interested. And so through that, I actually found quite a few artists, because they didn't announce a lot of the bigger artists until later on, which again is very like intentional, because they want you to check out the smaller artists. That's kind of like part of the cool thing about Warped Tour is they have like some undiscovered artists and things like that. They did have some really big ones just because it was the 30-year anniversary, but yeah, so long story short, Charlotte Sands is one of those, and I did not get to see her set, but she has a song that she sings with the Main, and she came on during their set to sing it with them, and I cried because, I don't know, it was just so cool. Part of the thing about festivals that's so fun is that you just get to see collaborations like that you wouldn't typically get to see, like unless artists are touring together, or if they're just like randomly in the city. That just doesn't happen all the time. So that was super fun. And then next after that was Escape the Fate, which I did talk about them a little bit because we saw them at the airport. So that was really fun. I was sad there was a song that they didn't play, which I like their music, but it was just an older song, which is probably why they didn't play it. But still, it was a good time. We didn't get very close because the crowd was just chaotic. And so, yeah, we watched them. After that, we just heard Story of the Year play Until the Day I Die, which is like the song by them I know. I don't know all their music, but that was cool because we did miss seeing them when we were in Vegas just because I was feeling so bad. We had to leave a show early. So we just heard them play that at the beginning of their set on the way to another stage. Oh goodness, I'm like not even halfway through and I'm on Friday. Okay, so we went to see the Home Team next, which is an artist I knew a few songs by, but Sarah is kind of who introduced me to them. And so we went over to see them. They were at a different stage in a different section of the festival. And before their set, there was a band called Fame on Fire that was at the stage next to it. So it was a similar situation to in Vegas where they have like 2 stages by each other. Every set of stages, there's 2. So there were 8 stages total, but they just, you know, there'll be a show at this one and then they'll show at this one. And then, you know, they just switch off all day. Because that's the quickest way to get through multiple artists. So we heard part of Fame on Fire's set, which they were really fun. I super enjoyed that. They had a lot of good energy. They were a great one to watch during the day because of that. Because you really want you want high energy in the evening too. But to kind of like wake us up, they were fun. So then the Home Team played and that was so fun. I was really having such a fun time. I don't remember what song it was, but the bassist from Boys Like Girls, Sarah and I like jokingly call him my boyfriend, husband, I don't know. But his name is Greg and he came out for a song. He came out to play a song with the Home Team and I was just like standing there like in shock because I didn't think Boys Like Girls was there yet because they were playing the next day of the festival, but I guess Greg got in early. And Sarah looked over to me and she was just like, "Are you okay?" And I just had to shake my head no because I couldn't speak. I was very excited. We love Boys Like Girls so much. So that was such a fun surprise. And then after that, I saw a band called Games We Play, which I don't know them, but Sarah knows a couple songs by them. And then next was 303, which was in like a different section of the festival. So we had to kind of like trek over there. And I'm starting to feel bad at this point in the day. I don't think we'd really eaten much and I get really dizzy and lightheaded when I am overheated. So that's part of like why I needed accommodations is I need a place to be able to sit and hydrate and have electrolytes. So during 303, unfortunately, I did have to sit in ADA. Sarah was down there dancing after she like went and got me fries and brought them up, which was super sweet. So yeah, I was just like dancing in ADA with the other people, like, you know, dancing in my seat. It was still a really fun time. It was just funny to see them because they're so old. Like that sounds rude, but just we're all a lot older, but it was just wild to see like their age and the songs that they play. Like if you know, you know, but yeah, it was a fun time. They're just, again, very high energy. And so after that, I feel like during their set, the sun was kind of starting to go down because I got up for Yellow Card, which was next, and Sarah and I danced during that set. And I do remember the sun had set or was like setting, and then it was fully down by the time their set was over for Yellow Card. So that was super fun. I was just having such a good time. I don't know what it was specifically. I don't know if it was just that the experience was great or that I was there with my best friend or what, but I started crying during the Yellow Card set and like I didn't even know the song that they were playing during that. I do know quite a few of their songs, but the song specifically that made me cry, I didn't know. So I think it was just kind of the whole experience, just everything being such a good time. It was getting to me emotionally, but like in a good way. It was a good cry. So then Sarah and I decided to split up because MGK was going to be playing on the main stage, which is where we were at for Yellow Card. And I don't really know his music very much, but there was also a set at the same time of Arrows in Action, and I do know their music and I love it. They're an artist that I like full on became a fan of from the Warped rollout. Like, I listened to their music and then I fell in love with it, and I got their new album on vinyl and CD. I was listening to it all summer in the pool. So like, Arrows in Action, I am a genuine fan. So I went to that set by myself, and she stayed at MGK, and she was texting me a little bit. We did have like a meetup spot that we just kind of like designated, but she was texting me a little bit. She was like, oh my gosh, Travis is on stage. And I was trying to go through like which Travis in my brain like would be there. And it was from We the Kings, which, because he was on the main stage, MGK, I could actually kind of see part of one of the screens from where I was at like a smaller side stage for Arrows in Action. But anyway, Arrows in Action was so fun. I definitely recommend seeing them live if you like their music. They put on a very good show. They are going to be touring with Boys Like Girls this year, so we're going to get to see them. But it felt so surreal to be seeing them, because I listened to them all summer, and then I was just like, wow. Like, I closed my eyes for a second and I was like, I'm here. Like, I'm not in my pool. Like, I'm actually here. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it just felt like a surreal moment for me. So I knew every single song. I think that was the first artist of the day that I knew literally every song they played, because some of these artists I'm like a casual fan of. Like, I like the main, but I know more of their older stuff. And I like Escape the Fate, but like same situation. I know more of their older stuff. So yeah, Arrows in Action, I truly knew every word to every song. Such a fun time. The crowd was great. And the lead singer of the home team came out to sing Wide Eyes with them, which that is a song that they collaborate on. And they've actually, I guess, been touring together. They had been last year. So that was a really fun surprise, and I texted Sarah. I was like, oh my God. And I didn't get a video of it because I was so like shook about it happening, but it was so cool to see. And then I did go back over to MGK once their set was over, because they had a shorter set since they're a smaller band. So I don't know how to put this. This is like an awkward size. Let me put the script down first. I'm like really struggling with the logistics. Okay. So I went over to MGK with Sarah and finished that set out with her. Ugh, this looks dumb. Okay, whatever. Which he was covering Iris, which is a Goo Goo Dolls song, and I love it. So that was a really good one to get to hear. And then we kind of rested during that. Like, I was sitting in our like meetup spot because Sarah had to like go to the bathroom, I think. So yeah, we rested a little bit during that to kind of conserve some energy. And then we went to see the state champs. I don't know. I can't remember if we went to see them specifically or if we were just there because we were going to see Hawthorne Heights afterwards. So Hawthorne Heights are based in Ohio, if you do not know, and they're the Ohio is for Lovers band, if you're in the emo scene. But they literally announced the day of that they were going to be at the festival, and I was so excited because I've just not been able to see them before, and me also being a Columbus Crew fan, I wanted to sing Ohio is for Lovers live like so badly. So that was an amazing experience. When they were playing that song, or I think maybe it was he was giving a speech like before they were going to. The audio cut, and I don't know what happened. Like, I still don't know why, but yeah, the audio cut out, and he was just like talking and talking and talking, and we're trying to chant like, you know, there's no sound, but of course when the artists have the in-ears, the in-ear like headsets, they can't always hear. So it was quite a while, but they finally got the audio fixed. However, when it wasn't working, there was a guy near me that started playing Ohio is for Lovers on his phone and then was like, let's sing it. And when I didn't start singing it immediately, he was like, come on, and pointed at my hat because I had my Columbus Crew hat on. He was like, you know this song. But it was at that moment in the day that I realized I had no voice. I was like, I can barely talk. So I don't know what happened, because this was not the day where I knew most of the bands super, super well. I guess I just got swept up in the excitement and was like screaming or something. Because, yeah, I did not know until the sound was cut and I tried to talk that I was like, holy shit, I can't. So I was trying to sing along, but the whole crowd got into it. We sang the entire song of Ohio is for Lovers while the sound was cut. So if that tells you how long it was out for, it's probably like 3 or 4 minutes. But then it did come back on. So we did get to kind of finish out the set. They were so good. I loved seeing them. I would still like to see them in Ohio. I think that would be a cool time. But they were just so good. Their visuals, there were so many checkers, and I took a few videos and I had to like text Omi afterwards because it was just so her. But by the end of the night, my feet were absolutely wrecked. Like, I have never felt that amount of leg pain in my life. And I deal with chronic pain on a daily basis. So like, when I say that, I really mean it. It was so bad. I was like, I don't know if I can walk to where we need to go to get an Uber. It was really rough. I like couldn't stop moving because I was like, if I stop moving, I'm not gonna be able to start again. So then we got back to the hotel. I took 2 showers, still couldn't get all the glitter off of me. And then Domi sent me rugby videos, which that's all I'm going to say. But they were cracking me up. So I stayed up watching those. Then on Sunday, we knew, based on who had played on Saturday, it was going to be all the like super big artists for us, like the artists we really, really know. So the unfortunate thing about that was it meant that there were artists that I wanted to see, but because of who else was playing, they got like bumped from the list and I didn't get to see their sets. But that's just kind of the nature of festivals, unfortunately. So I did put on glitter again this day because I was like, why not? I was like, I've already got it all over me. May as well just triple down or quadruple down at that point, I think, honestly. So I put a bunch of glitter on, and then we got there, and this day the opener was Alec, A-L-Y-K. Which, again, like, I don't remember specifics, but I do remember it was a good time. They had good openers. And then after that, Magnolia Park played, which, oh my gosh, I don't know, in focus. So I apologize for that. Hopefully it wasn't completely out of focus. But next was Magnolia Park, which I know some of their stuff, but I know them better now than when we saw them. So I did know a couple of the songs they played, and then they also played L2L, I believe it is, which is from the Goofy movie, which I haven't seen, but it's on like an emo Disney album that I have, so I do know this song. That was really fun. Also, the lead singer had us scream, fuck Trump, which felt like a great way to start the day. Then he got into the middle of the circle pit, which was wild and really cool to see. We were in ADA at this point because we knew we were going to have a chaotic day. We had like planned it out a bit once we got the lineup. So we started in ADA before it got to like the artists that we wanted to go dance for. So we saw them, and then the artist after was Girlfriends. They were all on the same stage, so this was really convenient. And then We the Kings was next, which we love We the Kings. We've seen them many, many times, and they are from Florida. So it was really cool to get to see them in their home state. And we did get up and dance for it. There is a song called I Feel Alive by them that one of his kids created a dance for it, and I want to say she was like 3 or 4 at the time, but you basically have to like crouch down and then jump up when he sings I Feel Alive. And he was like, you know, he told his daughter, like, I appreciate the dance, but a lot of our fans are like older and I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. And she was just like, I don't care, because, you know, she's a toddler. But his kids were there, like they showed them on the big screen, and so I was like, well, shit, I have to do the dance. So I did it, and it was a good time, but my knees were wrecked. Okay, well, this sticker's just messed up. I don't have very many of them, and they're discontinued, so I'm just gonna have to be like that. So We the Kings was, as always, a really fun time. Then we were on our way to go see another artist, but the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus was playing Face Down. So we did get to hear that, which was really cool because that's basically the song by them we know. I don't know if I really know much else, to be real. And a lot of times artists will play the most popular songs at the ends of their set. So I was glad they played it at the beginning. So who we went to see next was 408, which they are also based in Florida. So again, it was cool to see them in their home state. And they were the first set of the festival where Sarah and I had crowd surfers. And it was actually the first time that Sarah's had experience of lifting crowd surfers. It was not my first time, but it was kind of a wild time because we were near the front, so there were a lot of people that were crowd surfing, but it was a really good time. Got a little beat up, but that is a festival rite of passage if you're in the pit anywhere. And then at the end of the set, they threw stuff like, you know, picks and drumsticks out, and I got a drumstick, and I was very excited. And Sarah was like, you're going to have to carry that around all day. I was like, yeah, and? So, yeah, I had that in my bag for the rest of the day, but that was such a cool moment. I was really excited, and it was one that was used, so it's like broken, which is part of the charm. So that was just, they're so fun. We saw them when we went to see the Plain White Tees at one point. They were like an opener for them, and they're a really fun time. So I was very happy we got to see them again because this time we knew their music, whereas the first time we saw them, we didn't really know their music a ton. Like I knew a few songs, but yeah, I knew all of them this time. I really apologize. I feel like my camera is just trying to focus on the wrong parts of my spread, but I have everything down and we have quite a bit to go. So now I'm just going to talk through. So after 408, we had a little bit of a break. So we ate while Bowling for Soup was playing on the main stage. So we got to hear them, but we were just sitting on like the grass and dirt, which was not fun, but it was the only place to sit. And again, I was like, I guess this is just a festival rite of passage because it was different in Vegas. It was like pavement and turf, whereas it was World Camping Ground or something like that in Orlando. So, you know, it was more outdoors, like sand, straw, grass, stuff. So I was grossly dirty after sitting, but we had to sit to eat. Anyway, after that, we did go see May Day Parade, which was on the main stage. And we were like kind of watching them, but kind of not, because some of Sarah's friends that live in Florida were over by that set. So we did kind of like chat with them a little bit, and I traded bracelets with a couple of them. So that was fun. We have seen May Day Parade like multiple times in the last couple of years, so we were okay with like not paying attention fully to their set because we had just seen them in Vegas, and then we also saw them like on their Cheers for 20 Years tour. After this, I decided I wanted to go to the White Claw Shore Club because I didn't get to go to the one in Vegas, and it's just like a thing. And if you know me, you know I'm like a White Claw person. So we went there, and it was really fun. We had these little postcards we filled out and could like write a message and mail it to someone, which they were supposed to be mailed, and they like I put my address on it so it would be sent to me, and I still have yet to receive it. So I don't think it's coming, seeing as this was November and we are now at the end of January. Don't think that postcard's getting sent. So that's a bummer. But we did take a photo, which I held my drumstick in. I'll probably pop in a photo of that. And we had White Claws, which this was the only place in the festival where they had different flavors of White Claw. Everywhere else just had black cherry, but in the Shore Club you could get a variety of flavors, and they also had the White Claw Surges, which those are like double the alcohol percent. So it's probably for the best that we didn't know about those ahead of time, because I didn't drink a ton because I needed to stay hydrated. I mean, both of us did. But since it was the same price, we each got one of those. And then they had a claw machine you could play and get stuff. So we got like koozies from that. But yeah, overall, it was just a fun little time. And then Sarah and I split up because she wanted to see the Wonder Years, and I didn't know them at the time. So I went over to another set of stages because I wanted to see Beauty School Dropout and As It Is. But before those bands, Miss May I was playing. So I was just in the ADA section during those sets, like all three of them, because I was kind of starting to feel like tired and dehydrated. I did get an iced coffee. They had like these cans of iced coffee with oat milk. So I had one of those, and I had some water and like Gatorade powder to kind of like revitalize myself. And Beauty School Dropout was so fun. Them and As It Is are also artists that I found just through the Warped rollout, and I really like them. Beauty School Dropout, I cried at the beginning of their set. I'm honestly not really even sure why. I think the emotions just got the best of me multiple times because I was crying at random ass shit. So anyway, I did leave for the bathroom in between like Beauty School Dropout and As It Is. So I missed a little bit of As It Is of their set, unfortunately, but their sound cut when I got back, or shortly after I got back, but there was somebody in the pit that wasn't okay. And so the lead singer was talking about like how, you know, we have to take care of each other and make sure that everybody is okay. Just kind of giving us that reminder before they stopped playing, which I really appreciated, because obviously we're there to have fun, we're there to listen to music, but we've got to look out for each other. So yeah, they had to like escort someone out with medical services, so hopefully that person was okay. I don't really know what happened, but then they started playing again. And then after that, at the same section of stages was Honey Revenge, which I did see Honey Revenge for the first time a bit earlier last year with Sarah. She introduced me to them, so we were very excited to see them again. And they actually were on like my top artists of 2025, if that tells you anything. So they were really, really fun. I just love their music, love their aesthetic so much. They were doing a meet and greet afterwards at their merch tent, but we waited in line for an hour, and then they had to like cut it off, which I was bummed, but also I get it. Like, they're not going to stay there forever. And typically you have to pay for meet and greets. So I completely understand them having to be like, okay, we need to like call it. But I had made bracelets for them. So I did leave those with the person that was selling merch. So I bought a hat and left the bracelets for the band members. And then after that, we just kind of like shopped for merch because we were in that area anyway. And I did buy a Hawthorne Heights shirt and I bought some stickers from them. Then after that, we went over to the main stage area and we were watching All Time Low. We were sitting, and I guess I'll kind of like pull this into frame a little bit. Sarah was struggling on energy by this point. So we were watching from like across the road. We were sitting on concrete. Then the song Time Bomb came on and I just was like, Sarah, I have to go dance. And she's like, cool, just meet me back here when the set's over. So I just went out. I was just dancing, vibing. There was a girl near me that complimented me on my glitter, which is honestly like the best compliment you could give me. And so I had such a good time. It was so good to be able to dance in a crowd in the dark and feel safe. There are very few spaces like that in this world right now, and especially in this country, that I'm really grateful to have that. So after All Time Low, on the main stage, A Day to Remember was going to be next, and we had said we were going to watch part of their set and then go over to Boys Like Girls because they were playing at the same time, unfortunately. And we love Boys Like Girls, and even though I've never seen A Day to Remember live, I couldn't miss Boys Like Girls. I just could not. I am too big of a fan. So I don't know, we just decided to like go, and we're like, oh wait, what are we doing? Okay, whatever. So we saw part of Less Than Jake's set, which I really like them a lot. They're a good time. I've seen them live before. The first song by them I actually heard was All My Best Friends Are Metalheads, which was on the Digimon soundtrack when I was a kid, which that was my first CD. So LOL at that. But they were fun. I'm really glad we got to go see them. We also got really close spots for Boys Like Girls. Boys Like Girls was chaotic though. We had a very good time, but the sound was wild. Like, it was so loud, and I had my earplugs in on max noise canceling. Like, I wear earplugs at concerts and events because I cannot be playing with hearing damage. Like, I do not need to have any more of that than I already do. But it was wildly loud, and the crowd surfing started during the first song. Like, I did not expect it to be so fast, but it was the last set of the day. We're closing out the festival, so people were just like vibing, and so we kind of had to go to work. I was turned around like a good portion of their set because I had to make sure people weren't falling, and we were like maybe 3 people back from being right up by the stage, or the barricade actually. So yeah, we were working with that. Jamel fell, which that video kind of went like viral-ish of him falling and then just getting right back up. Sarah actually caught a video of it, which just cracked me up. We watched it back later, but I also almost lost my glasses. Like, I had my glasses on and then someone fell on my head, because there is a proper way to crowd surf, and I have never done it, but I do know there is a right and wrong way to do it. And there were a lot of people that were doing it that didn't know how. Like, you have to stiffen your body so that people can help lift you a lot easier, but there were people that weren't, and so they were kind of like falling butt first onto us. So yeah, that happened to me. Someone fell on my head and my glasses nearly fell off. I was like completely turned around, like to total 360, and I was super dizzy. Luckily the girl behind me and Sarah were like helping me out and making sure I was okay. But then I took my glasses off and put them in my purse because I was like, yeah, we're not going to play with this. I can't have broken glasses. So that was the end of the night. It was a really fun set. It was just chaotic because of all the crowd surfing, but the energy was great. I'm very glad we closed the night out with them, and it was just such a fun ending to the festival. I'm still bummed I didn't get to see A Day to Remember, but I'm hoping I'll get to see them live at some point in the future. And the other artist that I was honestly most upset I didn't get to see was Streetlight Manifesto. They're a ska band, and Brian got me into them a bit whenever we first started dating, so I thought it would have been fun to see them, but they were playing at the same time as like one of the big other artists that I had to see, so they unfortunately got cut from the list. They were just like a maybe on my list of people to see, but overall, I had a really great experience. This felt more like a festival than When We Were Young in Vegas, which I think is just kind of the nature of it. They're very different events. Warped Tour is more about discovering new artists. They only really had huge headliners because of it being the anniversary. But When We Were Young is really stacked with a lot of big artists, and that's just how that festival is. You can definitely tell the difference because the tickets for one day of When We Were Young Fest were like double the cost of a single day at Warped Tour, and Warped Tour is a 2-day festival. So yeah, it was definitely, you could tell the cost difference in, like I said, the fact that we were sitting on like grass and straw, that type of thing. But I did not have a bad experience. I just felt more like, oh, I went to an actual festival. So I really feel like I forgot some stuff, but I can't think of anything else to say. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. But that's it for the spread. So if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.